everybody, and welcome back to the Triforce podcast with me, Pyrion Flax.
Woo! You're not Pyrion Flax.
With me, Pyrion Flax, and Sips. Sorry, with me, Lewis, Pyrion Flax, this guy, bald guy.
Hello.
Can't tell he's bald. Kind of can. Actually,
you can hear it.
We are sponsored by jugs.com. You could get a jug for all of your jugging needs. Whether you're a prisoner and you want to jug someone, whether you like jugs.
I thought that was like a pornographic thing for a minute.
I'm just going to Google jugs.com. Whoa.
Use the code Triforce at checkout for 90% off jugs. And you can also, do you know what? Do you have sleep trouble? Does your back hurt? Do you wake up with a sore neck? Why not get a new mattress from Big Jugs Mattresses?
Yeah, you might need to have your prostate
Use the code
milked as well.
Triforce at checkout for 0% off. Oh, sorry, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and they have like a minute of adverts at the start, guys. So I felt like we need to make fake ones. Got any products you want to flog? Got any shit you want to promote?
I think we did this before, didn't we? The fake ads at the start of the podcast.
I know. It just annoys me a bit.
Can I give shout-outs to products that I do enjoy?
Yeah, sure.
Go for
Let's
it.
shout out to things we like.
Sainsbury's own Max Strength Cold and Flu Day and Night capsules have been getting me through this week, so shout out to those.
Right.
Sainsbury's all day, night contain very dangerous things. May cause drowsiness. Do not take while driving. And terms and conditions apply.
Contains paracetamol. Do not take anything else containing paracetamol while taking this medicine. Talk to a doctor at once if you take too much of this medicine, even if you feel fine. I do wonder how many people do that. 999. What's your emergency? Well, I've taken 4 paracetamol instead of 2. I feel fine, but it said to contact a doctor immediately. Okay. We're removing you from the register of phones that can call 999.
Yeah, good idea. Shit. I think that actually happens more than you think.
I'd also like to give a shout out to mini cheddars.
Yeah, oh God,
I think they're
I could get behind
underappreciated.
that.
I love them.
No, they are fantastic. Holy crap, though, when you eat too many of them, it feels like there's a cannonball in your stomach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just don't.
God. And do you know
they
what?
take a long time to come out the other end. Like, they sit
Not
in there
only
for a
that,
long time.
but your mouth feels like just you've eaten a fucking cardboard box. Do you know what I mean? They're so dry.
I would like to do a big shout out to Highland Spring, 500 milliliter bottles of water. Still spring water, naturally from the Scotland's Oakhill Hills. It's really refreshing. Tastes very clean. I mean, I haven't tested it, so I don't know if it is actually clean, but I'm assuming that it, meets all of the bottling standards for drinkable liquids by human beings and stuff like that. So, good job, guys.
I want to just quickly give a...
You drink bottled water?
I just
bring out a bottle of water with me to the garage,
But couldn't you just have a bottle and fill it from the tap? What's wrong with tap water on Jersey?
Well, there's nothing. I drink plenty of tap water as well, but they say that you shouldn't refill a bottle too much because you get a lot of gross germs and stuff in the
true.
bottles.
That's why I use a product I'd like to give a shout out to called Glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Used for centuries for various things. Glass.
It's like eating hot food on plastic is like something that I don't tend to do either, because I always just think, the plastic
what if
will
it's
melt.
melting?
Yeah,
melting
it might, even if
bit.
it just melts slightly and you get some like weird plastic molecules into your body or something. Like,
well, look, I got news for you, fella. There's plastic in everything now.
That's why I'd like to give a great old shout out to Rubbermaid kitchen plates and forks and knives as well.
You know how bad it is now. Do you have a tumble dryer in your house, sir?
Yes, of course I do.
I do.
Well, guess what? All those little bits of synthetic fiber that get blasted out of the hot air vent and on your tumble dryer that probably leads outside get zooped out into the environment, absorbed by it, and then comes back into you. A shout out to tiny pieces of synthetic fiber.
Big shout out to those tiny pieces of synthetic fiber that are ruining the environment.
When I think about plastic now, I think about plastic. It makes me want to be sick.
Well, oh my God, this is like a big sort of, almost feels like a conspiracy theory that's going on, right? Where it's like phthalates, I think they're called phthalates, right? Or whatever. They're in your fucking bloodstream. Everyone has like a high quantity of phthalates in them. And I read actually relatively recently that tight men's tight briefs, cause lower testosterone because of the plastic in underpants, right? Touching your balls.
They say that they say the same about having a laptop on your lap. It heats up your balls too much.
That's true.
That I can understand,
and
because
could also lead to similar problems.
I felt the hot balls that you get from a laptop. Like every bloke that has testicles. See how inclusive I am? I'm gender specific and testicle specific.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I don't have a laptop, but I have a tablet, and I find my biggest gripe with the tablet is when I rest it on my big man belly, I get a mark across my belly, like where the tablet rests, and that it doesn't hurt or anything, but it looks terrible.
The image I just got of you lying on your bed, like with your neck like a really awkward angle.
Yeah, when I'm examining myself in the mirror and sucking my stomach in to make myself look not so fat, I see this big line on my stomach, and I'm just like, oh, it's ruining the whole vibe.
It reminds you of your hysterectomy.
So speaking of fat man bellies, you went to Oktoberfest this week.
I got back last night. I just got back.
Now, the dads you went with, I assume they're all dads from your local kids' school, right? Do they all have fat man bellies, or are they all quite nicely put together dads?
They're like mostly as I remember them, just like slightly fatter and slightly older sort of thing. There were 8 of us all together.
8.
And we were sharing
an octuplet at Oktoberfest.
Fest. Yeah, so we shared a stunning apartment in Munich. It was huge. It was this really big apartment. And I was amazed by how quickly the whole apartment smelt like farts, almost instantly, as soon as 8 men got in there.
Right. Are any of them vegetarians like you? Because, my God.
I don't know. I wasn't really keeping track of who was eating what and stuff. It was a bit of a messy trip. So
I had to open the door to my fucking bedroom last night because I went in there and I was like, my God, this is a bad one. Like, I couldn't get rid of the smell. I was like shaking the covers, like up and down. I was just trying to get the...
Yeah.
But man,
the broccoli. Men, when they come back from war... And some of them have to use like night lights and stuff because they've been traumatized. Because nighttime during war is like scary, right? There's like shit always seems to happen at night, like when people aren't expecting it. You know, you can hear like the sound of critters out there in the woods, but then also like whispering Viet Cong and stuff like that, and that traumatized the shit out of you, right?
You're lying there on your back, with your head at an awkward angle, your iPad on your belly, and you're just trying to relax, but the sound of the gunfire from the iPad game you're playing. So some
shit has happened to you, and you'll never forget it, right? And it stays with you. Yeah. I feel the same way about sharing an apartment in Munich with 8 guys. The sounds that I heard in the middle of the night, occasionally when I woke up, were unbelievable. I thought at one point somebody was dying, choke snoring. That was... very worrying. Constant farting. All you'd hear. It was like a symphony of flatulence all across this apartment all night long. And then mixed in with snoring, strange yelling and talking occasionally in your sleep and stuff. And I'm sure I was part of that.
Contributing
at points while I was asleep. But I don't know how women put up with men at all. Like, it's crazy.
It's a miracle.
It's a complete and utter miracle. Like especially as men get older, they just get exponentially more disgusting as time goes on. They get fatter, they fart more, they snore more.
Honestly,
burping in your sleep. Who burps in their sleep? But I heard burping in sleep.
Are they drinking in their sleep as well? They just carried on the beer.
I think the thing, to be fair, every night was drunken sleeping, so maybe that had made it a lot worse. But
were these guys just passed out around the lounge, or were they actually? Did they make it to the bedrooms?
Consistently made it to. I'll tell you what, German beer. I don't know what they put into it, but holy crap, I was not hungover once while I was there.
It's so good, dude. It's my favorite beer in the world.
It's crazy. It's so good.
There's only one problem, dude. Once you've had it, you can't go back.
No, I know.
Once you've had it. Like, I've been there a bunch of times, and I hardly ever drink beer. I'm a cider man.
You are?
Right?
Yeah.
But when I'm in Germany, the Deutsche Bier is the besten Bier. Yeah. Ein Groß, bitte. Ja, sehr gut. Bring the big comic, please, Fraulein. Und keine stoppen. Don't stoppen. Just keep hopping.
Don't stop it. Yeah. Oh man. So
sponsored by Pringles. Fuck me.
So it was a really, really fun time. I mean, I can't rate it any higher than 12 out of 10. It was fantastic. Fuck, I would do it again every year if I
So
could.
what was the idea? You got. So how long were you there? Like a few days or just
I
a
was there
weekend?
3 nights, which was enough. My body is like in shutdown now. It's screaming at me, constantly shitting. Like even when I don't need to shit, there's like shit leaking out of my ass now.
So
and
you
stuff.
went away in September though for Oktoberfest. How does that
Well,
work?
yeah,
Is it just a long season of it now?
No, it bleeds into October, so it's
September is German for October.
Right,
So.
I didn't realize.
it goes on for 2 weeks and 3 weekends. So like it started basically when I got there, and it'll go on for the next like 2 weeks or whatever. So I think it's to bring in October. Not
Were there any
necessarily.
like women in maid outfits and stuff? And like also, what
They're
did
not
you
maid outfits.
what did you fucking eat, Sips? Because when I was in Germany for
Pretzels.
Gamescom, it was
I ate
fucking
pretzels the whole
impossible to
time.
eat anything. There was
Yeah.
it was either pretzels or meat kebabs
I just like,
or bratwurst.
a lot of the
or-
time I just drank instead of
right,
eating
I
as well.
see.
It's just easier.
Liquid bread. Did you see anything green in the 3 days you were there? Anything green?
Not
'Cause
a
I
single
didn't when I
goddamn
was in-
thing except
No.
for myself in the mirror sick like a couple times. No, I wasn't sick at all. I'm happy to report I was not once sick.
Well,
But
you're
yeah,
fucking.
no,
You literally before this podcast started, you were complaining how you were sick.
well, no, I've got a cold now, and I think that's just from the from being in a tent with like billions of other people.
You know what you need? Sainsbury's cold and flu capsules.
Just a shout
Well,
out.
I'll tell you what. I'm currently downing a 500 milliliter bottle of still spring water from Highland Spring.
Right.
And very aware of microfibers being in my garage right now, and also in the air and stuff too. Yeah, traditional wear, tons of people.
Dirndls. They
You're-
call dirndls.
You're on
lady
you're
thing.
on like the metro or the U-Bahn going like to the grounds or whatever, and there's just like old, young, like kids, women. They're all dressed up like in their lederhosen, and they've got their overalls and their yodeling hats on, and the women look fantastic. Holy
Oh
shit!
God, I love a
Is there
dirndl.
much dancing, or is it mostly just sitting
There's
around drinking?
lots of standing on tables, yelling and dancing, and it's super easy to meet people because everybody is in very close
Drunk.
proximity to each other and drunk. So you're constantly, meeting new people and getting dragged off to go out and smoke with them and come back and losing everybody, and it's crazy. It's super fun.
Tell me about
It's
some of the people you met.
I
I wanna-
snorted some like candy cocaine while I was there, which was unbelievable.
What the fuck are you
It's not.
saying?
It's not drugs. It's called like snoof. I think it's like it comes in
Snooze?
a little vial, and it's just like it's candy, but you snort it, and it's
Oh, God.
very minty. It's like imagine snorting Vicks vapor rub. It's
That
oh my
sounds
god.
terrible.
It's
snorted-
pretty
you
bad.
mean you
I
had
was
some
crying.
snuff?
It was really really bad. Jeez.
It's called, apparently it's Weissenkox, Oktoberfest cocaine. It's
Yeah.
made of glucose and menthol.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the stuff. Oh my god, can you ever feel it too? My god, I've never been in so much pain. It was unbelievable.
Okay, so the powder is cut into lines on beer tables, or since they're usually covered in sticky beer, tapped onto the back of
But
hands.
actually, the second time, this third, fourth, fifth, and sixth time I did it wasn't too bad. It's just that first time it was pretty
How
bad.
many times did you do Weissenkox?
Oh my god, it's everywhere. Like you can't get away from it. People love it. Like you have that, you've got like like the paint sniffer mouth when you're done. It's just like fucking powder all over your beard and stuff.
No wonder your sinuses are all fucked up.
Oh fuck.
My God,
No,
you were
it's really
snorting
fun.
fucking Oktoberfest cocaine off the fucking tables.
Yeah,
Jesus.
right out of the crack
So
of
tell me about some of these
man's-
crazy people you met. I want to know. Did you meet Hans and Claudia? Were they like fucking just getting pissed? Were they
Yeah,
like
yeah,
abandoning their
sure.
jobs? And were they like?
Well, I don't
loads of
understand
tourists
how
there?
the people who are serving the beers do it, because like each beer is a gigantic mug with a
They just
liter
got
of
beefy
beer in
arms.
it.
They get used to it.
But
you
they
know?
bring over like 20 at a time. It's insane. Like it's
Yeah, but again, it's like what they're used to, right? When you start off there, you're carrying one at a time, but before long,
I
you
don't know. I never saw one person carrying just one. Like it's always they always had like at least 10. It's crazy, but honestly, if you've never been, Lewis, and you want to have a good time, fucking go. It's really great. Jeez, I can't recommend it enough. It's so good.
I don't know if I'd like it though. I feel like for me it would be like I don't really like those kind of big drunken party things. I never really have. And so for me it's like
They play like Bon Jovi and everything. It's crazy. They play a lot of like traditional German like chanty
Oompa.
songs during the day,
Yeah.
but then in the evening they start belting out like, I Will Survive and It's Raining Men and Bon Jovi and like all the classics, Country Roads.
So you say it's like a sort of a fairground. So is it more like a kind of like, is it more like a specific like festival area that you have to get a train out to?
It is, yeah. So, it's
all like
in
isolated.
the same space every time. Normally, it's just
How many
this big,
people would you say were there?
I think over the course of the time that it's open, they receive about 6.5 million people. So it's like...
Get the fuck
it's
out.
Fucking super busy. It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts. There's like... there's like a temporary police station there. Like there's everything. There's like medical tents, obviously, because people... They have a medical tent where if they find somebody passed out or whatever, they'll take you to the tent. They'll take your ID out of your wallet and hold it like at the reception, so that if somebody is looking for you, they can just say at the reception like, "Oh, we're looking for Hans."
Ja, where's Wilhelm?
Yeah, and then they
We
just
have
pull out
lost him.
this deck of fucking driver's licenses and like, "Oh, yeah, Hans. Oh,
How
yeah,
old is
he's
Wilhelm?
here. He's passed
We have
out."
14
Yeah.
Wilhelms.
So they've got like all of these really good
This
systems
is the
for
Wilhelm's
fucking.
room. Come in here, see if any of these Wilhelms is yours. This one is covered in cocaine. You can see his
Yeah.
beard is full of cocaine. He's smelled a lot
Check
of
the
it.
Hans room. We might have overflowed the Wilhelms into the Hans.
We were
The Wilhelms needed more Lebensraum, so we moved them into the Hans room.
We had
so
to
it's-
invade the Hans room.
So it's a very busy place, right? You get there.
Sorry,
and,
Germans,
And
sorry.
it's imagine like a tent that can hold like 5,000 people, but every table is absolutely rammed with people. You can't get a table, so you just have to wait and luck out basically if people are leaving, and then you can just grab their table, sort of thing, right? So a couple of times we were stuck outside, which was all right because the weather was super nice and there's lots of tables outside and stuff too. So we're outside and we were just having a couple of drinks and, just like
You're having a couple
talking
of
and
drinks.
looking around and
Oktoberfest.
stuff.
At October for Jesus.
And this girl and like a couple of other people walk out of a tent and she just... I've never seen this person before in my life, but I could tell that she was just so fucking sick. Like she was pale. She just looked like she wasn't with it at all. She was stumbling everywhere and stuff. And, we were all like, oh, fuck, that's it. Like, she's dead. Like, they're probably going to take her to the medical tent or whatever.
Right.
And as we're discussing this, just like this explosion of vomit came out of her mouth and went like all down her front and the front of her friend who was dressed up really nicely in like this like traditional fucking, Oktoberfest gear or whatever. Oh my God, it stunk so fucking bad. Oh, we were just sitting there and all of a sudden you just smelt the smell of somebody's insides just waft over the whole place. And it was like this whole patio was just like an exodus of people. Everyone's like, nah! Everybody's getting up and leaving and stuff. Oh, fuck, it was so
I
gross.
feel like that's inevitable, right? I feel like that's that's like a risk factor that you're gonna.
You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be the sick person that
Yeah, I feel
causes
bad
this
for her,
domino
I guess.
effect. Though, fuck, it was awful. It was so bad. Oh, man.
Shit. I mean, that's just part of it, right? Like, it
is. It really is.
The thing is, in a
There's
sense, because the beer is very drinkable, it's very much like low alcohol content, and you have to, you really have to go really fucking hard on it to
it's
get
open
that
for
kind of
12
wasted.
hours a day too, and most people will get there very early to get a table.
Yeah, my towel was on this table. I love Germany and I like German people, but there's something about making fun of them that just, I just can't help myself.
No.
It's just their accent to me is brilliant. When I do my stupid comedy German accent, it makes me happy. And I like joking about the war, even though it was the worst thing that ever happened in the history of humanity. There's something about it.
Would you consider that racist though? Like mocking somebody?
They fucking love it.
Yeah, they love it. Okay.
Yeah, most
They
of them
love
are
it.
cool with it. Yeah,
They can't talk about it. They come here and we tease them about it. Yeah, it's a war. And they're like, finally, we can talk about the Krieg in peace.
Fuck. No, honestly, if you're listening to this podcast, Germany in general, man, what a great time.
Big fans,
huge
here.
fan. Loved it.
I just
Everything
find it
from
so
1946 onwards, you're cool.
Yeah.
bizarre. So I guess 8 of you is like a good number to always have some sort of conversation flowing, right, between like friends.
It was good, yeah. And occasionally when people would, some people would get up and go off to get food or whatever. We had, we're just using WhatsApp, so it's so fucking easy to keep in touch, post like live locations of where you are and stuff like that, and joke around as to where you were, like posting a live location from like a dumpster and stuff. And
did anyone get out of hand? I mean, we won't name any names.
No, actually, like I think if we'd gone 20 years ago when we weren't all 40 or pushing 40, probably, but everybody was fairly sensible, like
right.
They're all just so fucking happy to
know
not
their
at
limits.
home.
Yeah, most of them were happy to have a break from family life and stuff, and they didn't go too crazy though.
Age for the whole crowd, like was it generally like your guys of your age as well? Was it like a younger crowd or was it like an older?
They're
crowd?
like 2 years older than me, so like my main friend from that group is somebody that was my neighbor growing up.
I think he means.
Oktoberfest in general.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oktoberfest in general was some big mix of families, everything. There's like fair rides and stuff there. There's like kids, teenagers, adults,
now, Wilhelm and Hans,
people.
Make sure you drink up all of your beer, or you will not be allowed your dinner.
I think the culture over there is generally like because when I was in Munich, not for Oktoberfest, we went to like beer gardens and stuff, and it was the same. There's like kids and stuff, families, like generations of families all just drinking together, and
like grandma and grandpa?
Yeah. Like, and they eating radishes mostly. I don't know what the fucking German obsession is with radishes, but
like pickled radish, like sauerkraut and stuff. Or
I guess cabbage? So, but it's just so. So yeah,
that sounds healthier than fucking pretzels and beef.
I guess so. Yeah,
or sausage. Jesus.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Like I said, Lewis, we should go. We should plan. Maybe we'll take everybody next year. It'll be fun. We'll
take the whole family out.
We can vlog the whole thing. You'll love it.
Jeez, I don't know, man. I like. It's a strange recommendation. It's something that I have never considered doing as a holiday.
No,
like
I never really considered it either. I heard my friends like talking about it and saying that we should go and stuff. And I was always like, fuck, I'm a bit older now. I don't know if I want to drink that much. Like, it sounds like intense. I don't want to be stuck in a tent all day, drinking, getting sick and stuff. But it's not really like that at all. It's really good.
I got a question. I got a question for you guys. Because that's 22 minutes of Oktoberfest chat. So I've got another topic that's been burning in my brain all week. I don't know why I've been thinking about this.
Right.
So I was thinking about cults, like religious cults that start up. And first of all, I'm thinking, how do you get into one of those in the first place? Like, how do you start your own religious cult? Not because I want to, but I'm just curious about the process.
You have to be an incredible public speaker. That's the one. That's the.
I don't even know if that's true.
One and only true thing about
the guy from the Heaven's Gate cult wasn't he just looked like a weirdo. A lot of them just look like weirdos. I think some of them are good
some of them do
speakers.
look like weirdos, but they make very compelling speeches. But
they wouldn't compel most people.
No, but this is the thing. That's why these cults aren't that big. Like, like Heaven's Gate was what, like 40 people or something?
It was small, but like the Jonestown, that was a pretty big cult. Like, that was a lot of people that killed themselves there.
Well,
there are lots of cults. But anyway, my point is this. You get your cult going, and I'm wondering if, like, the cult leader, obviously, some of them are probably just delusional, right? Like, genuinely believe this
I'd
shit.
say
Like the
most
Heaven's
of them
Gate
are,
guy
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them are just thinking, you know what, this will be a laugh, won't it? We'll just start a cult, and I'll make it one of those sex cults where we all have sex with each other, and I'll be the leader, and I'll have lots of sex.
I
and
think
we'll
it comes
say that drugs
sort
are
of from
cool.
the same place as like revolutionaries come from, but obviously like the end goal of what they're trying to do isn't the same as starting a revolution. I think it just comes from people who are very disenfranchised. They don't feel like anyone.
You think they get people that are like outliers or outsiders?
Exactly.
They're off the grid types, and they're like
exactly. They appeal to people who have nobody and can't relate to anybody in society. And convince themselves that, oh, hang on a second, we know better than everybody else. We know that there's the fucking, God is going to welcome us with open arms if we fucking all chop our dicks off or whatever the operational procedure is for that cult. You know what I mean? They believe it in the end because they have nothing else to believe in. Like
But I reckon that's probably true for quite a few of them. But there are always going to be some guys that are going to know exactly what this is, and they're just along for the ride. They're just like, well, because a lot of these cults have like a leadership thing. You know, you've got the guy in charge, and he's got some honchos below him, and they've got some honchos below them, and they've probably all got perks, like they get to have sex with 5 of the women instead of all of them, like the leader does.
I mean, I think that's always like a part of it. There's always like some side play that, you know.
Right. So I'm wondering if some of the guys that come in there, they know like what's up. And they know that the cult leader is pulling the wool over people's eyes.
Right.
And
so,
I mean,
like, some people just get involved because they know
Yeah.
that there's a chance for them to have sex, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and do drugs and live in a cult and not have to pay taxes and just basically have a laugh.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if sometimes they accidentally sort of let slip to the rest of them what's going on. Like, I was imagining the cult leader's given some speech about the ancient text, and you know that he found, like in Mormonism. I was trying to explain Mormons to my kids last night.
Wow.
They were like, what's a Mormon? Like they'd heard it mentioned on TV or something.
Is
like
Mormons
that. I was
the
like,
one where the book fell from the sky in a field and somebody found it?
No. It didn't fall from the sky. The key Mormon belief is that Jesus and some of his lads took a boat to America and just sort of sailed over there, and now buried some sacred text, the Book of Mormon.
What, in America?
In America, that they'd written on some golden plates.
Right.
And my daughter's first question is, where'd they get gold? And it's like, if you read the Bible, it's pretty clear that Jesus and his pals are poor lads, right? They're not rich. He was a carpenter. None of the other lads are rich. He has a lot of shit to say about rich people in the Bible. He ain't going to rock up with no gold tablets. But you're in America now, in the Book of Mormon, so it's all got to be pretty fancy, Trump Tower style, lots of gold.
Right.
So Joseph Smith found...
He gambled. He went to Vegas. He put it all on red.
Yeah, and the house said, we can't pay it. We'll have to pay it in these golden tablets we found underneath the Bellagio.
That's right.
But yeah, so he found these tablets under a tree or something. Some angel came to him and said, go to the tree and dig up the tablets. And he could read them. Only he could read them through a special magnifying glass or a pair of glasses. And he had to have his head in a bag.
Yeah.
So no one else could see these tablets.
How long did Jesus stay in America for then? Was he just
a few months,
just
I guess.
2 weeks
just
or
chill.
whatever? Just a quick vacation and then went back?
And then popped back. Yeah,
Right,
they didn't mention it in the Bible
for to be crucified. He's just like,
I'm just going to pop back.
Sorry, guys,
got a meeting.
The
Romans have got a meeting with the Romans. Pontius Pilate's been up my arse all week. I've got to. If I postpone again, he's going to fucking crucify me. I swear to God. I better go back. So I was trying to explain about Mormons, and I'm thinking like, a lot of people believe this shit. A lot of people didn't. Like
weirdly,
the Mormons,
weirdly, the tablets though. It's nice that he translated them because they said that he could have like a second wife and stuff, and like a third wife.
Yeah.
I mean, if we didn't know that, we would have thought that was
the tablets.
Yeah, they
shall
just
have
Google
a third
translated
and fourth wife. Yeah. He started writing it out, and then the guy, like you can look up all these details yourself. I've read a lot about it because it fascinates me. But I've misremembered a lot of it, I'm sure. The guy that originally was transcribing for Joseph Smith, he lost the notes, and Joseph Smith had to do it all again, and he was like super angry. And the guy was like, well, we can just do it again. You've got the tablets. And Joseph Smith is obviously thinking, fuck, dude, I was making all that shit up on the fly, reading out of a bag. You can't expect me to remember it verbatim. Like, there were a lot of differences between the original draft that they lost and the second one. But I'm thinking, did this guy know on some level... This is what got me thinking about the cult thing, that Joseph Smith was full of shit. Like, he called it Mormons, which is one letter away basically from the morons, right? Like, it's not that difficult to understand that Joseph Smith was a con artist. And obviously, I don't think he believed for 1 second, because you couldn't. Because you're lying to people's faces all day long. And the idea that, well, eventually you believe the lie, I don't believe that. I think he knew exactly what was going on.
Honestly, you sound, when you started saying about these, how do you form a religious cult, you sound like L. Ron Hubbard originally when he said, because didn't he say something like, if you want to get rich, make a religious cult? And then he did.
I think that's a true quote. It might be apocryphal, but either way, I can believe it because he was a sci-fi author. I can believe it.
He was a sci-fi author. He wrote tons of stupid sci-fi books.
Terrible sci-fi, yeah. And then he just did it. So, I mean, if you can listen on YouTube to speeches that he gave, which are bonkers, where he talks about how he was sitting on a comet and he describes all these the spacecraft that the Thetans or whoever used looked like B-52 bombers. I mean, why would you come up with such a shitty detail as to say that their planes, their spacecraft happen to look exactly like B-52 bombers. What a weird detail.
Because it applies to the people at the time, right? Like nowadays, you'd say, "Oh, it looks like fucking a Boeing 747 or whatever." Do you know what I mean?
But you could just say they arrived in their spaceships, and if someone says, "What do they look like?" you could say, "I don't know, they're spaceships."
Maybe it's just to test boundaries as well. They just like
Exactly.
push and push
It's like
to
a
see what
power
they can
thing,
get
right?
away with, and they're like, "Oh
Right.
fuck, they believe that? That's crazy!" And then it
Like
sort of opens up doors for
literally
more shit.
is just fucking with them.
I don't know how
and
many
that's what my
people-
thing about some cult leaders are literally just seeing how far can I push it, and it gives them an ego trip. Much like there are some people that cheat just because they enjoy cheating. They don't need to cheat. They can afford not to cheat, but they cheat or they lie
like, look
because
at-
it gives them a thrill.
Saul Goodman from Better Call Saul, he's a bit like that, isn't he? Like,
It is
doesn't
interesting.
doesn't
So-
have to be a hustler, but enjoys it, so he is.
Right.
This,
so I think a lot of these cult leaders, not all of them, some of them, like the Heaven's Gate guy, killed himself. Fair play to him. You know, he bought into his own bullshit. Fair play.
There's a lot of
like-
people who are called what they call in German Mitlaufer, which means like
Yeah.
with runner or like fellow traveler. So when they did all the denazification stuff after World War II, they took a lot of the Germans and they put them through these denazification hearings where they basically classified Germans into like, I think it was like 5 groups, and there were the major offenders who were, you know, fully involved. There were people who profited off the German activities. There were people who were lesser offenders, and then there were these followers who were kind of just people who were involved but weren't sufficiently like tied to the Nazi regime that they could really be sort of. And a lot of
Part-time
people got
Nazis.
put in that category, like hanger
Zero hour contract Nazis.
And a
They
lot
would-
of people,
they-
the same
yeah.
with religious cults or religion in general, a lot of people are just there because their wife is in it, or because their
Right.
husband is in it, or because their brother is in it, and they just don't want to cause trouble. They don't want to rock
Yeah.
the boat, you know? It's better for them to just be like, sure, do you know what? I'll make some cakes for the Heaven's Gate thing, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
They just want to help
You
out.
want me to put this
And
little
they-
bottle into
yeah.
the cakes? Sure. Do you know what I mean? Is that just vanilla flavoring? Okay, it'll go in there. You know what I mean? They didn't. They weren't. I mean, a lot of people are just chill. You know.
Yeah. I think
They're not-
I think a lot of
everyone
these
knows someone who is deluded and convinced about this crap, but most of the time it's not worth trying to change their mind because
No.
it causes more trouble than it's worth.
The worst
you know?
are the worst are people who are like are you know like they like that are recent converts. You know, they have like the zeal of the recently converted. You know what I mean? Like somebody who's like just getting into becoming a vegan or something like that. That's all they'll talk about, and they'll
Or someone
lecture
who
everybody.
stopped eating meat.
But they're
for
excited
example.
about it. They're like,
They're- yeah, exactly.
they've
They're excited
discovered the
about it,
secret,
but-
the Holy Grail. They're like, damn, I didn't know. Did you know there's a fucking spaceship behind the moon and it's going to pick us all up? And then we're going to get massive dicks? And then we're going to be able to fuck all the space aliens? It's like, wow.
Well, sounds
But
amazing.
they're easier to convince to do crazy shit as well. That's why a lot of
Yeah.
these cults and religions and political parties need to recruit like fresh blood, right? Because all of the old guard are all fucking old, lazy, disillusioned with what they were doing in the first place because it hasn't really gone anywhere or whatever. So they need these like new people, like fresh meat to come in and be all excited for what they're doing and do all of this crazy shit, right? It's like through history, it's always been like that. There's always like the sort of recent joinees are always the ones that end up doing
like the Hitler Youth.
the craziest shit. Yeah.
I think for me, like, you know, like the whole anal probing and stuff, right? People saying, oh, no, look, I got abducted by aliens and they shoved things up my butt. And it's like, I know that these guys are probably the ones shoving stuff up their own butt. Do you know what I mean? They're the guys going to hospital saying, oh, I've got 7 dildos stuck up my ass
No,
again.
they're probably-
It's like,
It's not a dildo, it's an alien probe. Yeah.
It's the shame
got
of
stuck up
shoving
there.
something into your own butt, and that's why you have to like really search
Blame it on the
deep for
alien.
something else to blame, right?
yeah.
I
An
like the
alien-
idea that the cult leader, like some guy one day accidentally pulls the wrong curtain and reveals something behind the curtain that the rest of the crowd wasn't meant to see. And the cult leader says to the, what are you doing, dude? It's what? So what are you going to blow the whole fucking thing? We get to have sex with all these women and do drugs and pretend that we're going to escape on a spaceship? You're just fucking it all up. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. So I do wonder if they're going to form like a little bond, like winking at each other. He'll say, yeah, and then the spaceship arrive, and he looks at us like, wink.
And it's like, do you know what? It's like it's compounding lies, and it's like, yeah, we got this thing here because the aliens like fucking sucking the jam off my dick, So that's why I've got jam all over it. The aliens love jam dick.
But then you'll lie, like if you're a
You think
serial
the aliens
liar.
will like peanut butter? Or hot Nutella?
Well, we'll help.
I don't like jam.
Go for it.
Any preserve is fine, all right? Any preserve is fine.
And then that's how it gets out of control. And then it just leads down these, it's like lies that compound upon each other.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're
It's like
talking
that
absolute
scene in
bullshit.
The Life of Brian, where they start to add stuff to his details. Like, he's just there saying, look, I don't know. And they're just like, he doesn't know. And they sort of take everything he says and expand upon it. You don't need other voices. I think that's why the cult leader has to be almost totally in charge. Because if he lets other people, it's not, you can't have a fucking democracy in a cult. You can't have people voting on what kind of space you're going to pick them up. No, the cult leader's word is final.
I think the other thing is that depending on how long this organization has been around for, a change in management is usually what sort of starts making it, like a shadow of what it formerly was, right? Like, you look at somebody who starts somebody who starts a political party or like a cult or whatever, and they have very, very specific like demands for what they want, and they have a very specific idea of how that's going to go, and they have very specific contingencies in place for when things don't go their way or whatever. And then normally that person gets old inevitably and either loses the energy to carry on going or dies for whatever reason or whatever, and then
gets arrested
or something, and then control of this group is taken over by somebody else who has completely different ideas of how things can be run.
They missed the point completely.
Done.
Yep.
Yeah, their interpretation of what the point is
it doesn't even
totally
have to be
different.
that much. I mean, the thing is, like, it can be obviously a major sticking point, but this is what happens. Like if it's like a schism in the church, like it's how we got Catholicism, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Or Protestantism, or whichever. That's how they all broke off, right? It was all small disagreements that.
I believe Catholicism came first.
Well, I think probably Judaism came first.
Right, but you're talking about Christianity. You said Protestantism and Catholicism.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
if you want
they
to say
all
what
came
first,
from
Zoroastrianism
Abrahamic faiths,
and Buddhism and all this shit probably predated all that.
In any case, it's all like it's all. But it's the same thing with kings. Like if you were a king of a kingdom, your biggest problem was other people wanting to become king, and you had to keep them happy that they were happy with their station and not either gonna rebel against you or have you killed or do something to take your power away. And you're constantly, as a king, you're more worried about your own sort of vassals underneath you than you are about threats from outside, because of how hungry people are for power. Someone in the Mormons could easily be like, well, come on, Joseph Smith, you can't possibly let us believe that they were made of gold. Surely they were made of iron. And it's like the Iron Mormons are formed at that point, and they split off.
Which leads us neatly into thanking our next sponsor, which is, of course, Paradox Crusader Kings 2, which is available on PC. It's got many DLC, but there's a sale on right now. You can pick it up from Steam or any other reputable retailer out there.
It's only $359.99 to buy.
The longest lead up to a sponsorship disclosure of all time. It's taken us 38 minutes to get to this point.
Oh my god! So
we're so proud to be sponsored by Crusader Kings 2.
It is interesting, man. I love all that stuff. Holy shit.
It is. It's
Cults
super
are, like,
interesting.
super cool. If you were to make your own cult, P-Flax, what would you?
I don't think cults are super cool. I disagree with that, but I think it's interesting.
You have to have something.
Cool.
You have to have something in your life which requires like something which is like like a big problem. Like I think Joseph Smith maybe was like, oh god, I'm having an affair, but I need to cover this up. A little bit like even like Mary being like, oh god, I had sex out of wedlock, but let's just say God done it.
Kind of like Plan A in Interstellar, how it was never going to work. And there's the big reveal
I'm
at
messing
the end.
with a lot of people here. I'm going to a lot of people. But you can see how like, like I need to get a supernatural way out of my problem. What's your problem, P-Flax? And how do you like solve it? Do you know what I mean?
I have a cold.
Right.
I mean, generally the only sort of culty thing I do is stream on Twitch, and I have a very specific mindset, I guess, for how I want the Twitch chat of my stream to be.
Right.
And I'm kind of mean to people that don't fit that particular scheme.
So, for example, so like, you know, exclusionary.
I was streaming XCOM for the last few days because I'm back on it.
Right.
And this guy pops up. Yeah, this guy pops up and says, well, I'm having to rip my dick off too much, so I'm going to go. I'll see you guys later. And I just banned him. I was like, get the fuck out and don't come back.
Nice.
So
don't let the door hit you all the way out.
Yeah, like, my whole thing with Twitch chat is, if you're turning up there and the only thing you say is, I'm not enjoying this, why don't you just fucking push a little X at the top of that tab and leave?
It's not as straightforward as that. I mean, it isn't. You watch football, right? On TV.
Right, but I don't call up the manager of a
you
football team and say, yeah, I went to watch, and I
you might
wasn't
tweet him,
enjoying
though.
it.
You might tweet him.
No, because I just fucking don't watch it.
You
If
don't,
it's
but
my
a lot
team,
of
that's
people-
different.
Okay, you're sitting around in your living room. You weigh 500 pounds. You haven't walked in like a couple of weeks because it's hard to do, right? But you're the same guy who sits there and criticizes somebody who's at peak physical form, who is capable of scoring a goal against other equally talented people who are in peak physical form, right? You somehow qualify to weigh in and have some opinion as to how that team should be run, how they're not playing well enough for your tastes, right? That's Twitch chat. The Twitch chat are the same. It's like the armchair general
It's very
syndrome.
different. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's different.
Same. It's
no,
the
it's
exact
not.
same.
I will tell you why it's different. I don't get the chance to go up to the footballer on the pitch as he's about to take a penalty and say, you should really put it to the goalkeeper's left. I don't know why you keep putting it to his right.
It's more
as he's
interactive.
taking the penalty. I don't get to do that.
No, but you can just choose to ignore it as well.
Mug! From the stands, I can do that.
Yeah.
But everybody's done it. He's not listening.
But everyone can still boo him, though, from the stands. You could get the whole Twitch chat in the stadium going, boo!
Yeah, you could, yeah.
To this poor guy.
But what do players do? They have nothing to do with the fans, if they can help it. There is no, like, everybody thinks there's a huge connection between the players and the fans. There is not. There is a massive wall between the players and the fans. The players fucking hate the fans. They do not see them as their friends. They really don't.
And it's the same with you in Twitch chat.
Exactly. Now, my guys that have been in the chat and know how it works, I love them to bits. They're fantastic. They're funny.
There's like 10 guys that you like.
If you're going to flame me, be funny. Like, some of the flames are genuinely funny, but some of them are just painfully unfunny and awful, and just why bother?
Yeah,
like,
but that's the same with this podcast. Like half of the things we say are just garbage. Like, some of them are funny, sure, but like you can't always like hit the jackpot with stuff. It's experimental.
But they're not experimenting. This is bad. This guy's bad. Only comment. I was like, well, what the fuck off? Like, it's an option. Like, if it's your football team, you're bound to that team.
I'm sorry for making those comments, P-Flax. I just can't help it sometimes.
Do you think maybe it irks you so much because deep down, you know, he has a point?
Oh, I know I'm bad. That's the other thing. I've never said I'm good. I'm known for being bad at every game I play. No, but it's true. Like, it's not like I advertise my stream as like the home of professional game. This guy knows what he's doing. Like, how long has he been playing Dota 4 and he's still this bad? It's like, yeah, I just have fun playing it. What? I don't understand.
You don't even have fun. You yell at people. You have a horrible time.
Well, that's part of the fun, I think.
It's part of it. But I just feel it's weird that people turn up and the only comment they make is, I'm not enjoying this. I'm like, do you do that in the movies? Just stand up in the middle of the theater? Hey, everybody else
surprisingly,
is watching this.
people do that as well.
I'm having a bad time and I'm leaving this movie. You'd be like, shut up and get out. Like,
I've been in proximity to people who have done that before.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It is stupid, but fucking that's people for you. Most people are pretty
Exactly. That's why I ban them. Case closed.
Case closed.
Was it George Carlin who said, like, think of the average guy in the street, you know, 50% of people are dumber than that guy. Do you know what I mean? So it's like...
Yeah,
that's a lot
by definition.
I'm dumb.
We're definitely like in that bottom 50. Holy shit!
I've got to be for sure. Like,
I don't think I'm in the bottom
I miss
50.
the point of so many things. Sometimes somebody makes a joke and I'm just what? Like, pretend to laugh and like feel like I'm part of the group or whatever. But deep down, I'm crying. I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what that joke is in reference to. Is it something about me? Like, I'm a narcissist as well, so I'm like, oh fuck, are they making fun of me here? Like,
You're a bit weird, Tips, though, but we love you for it. Like,
thanks, Lewis.
What a classic Lewis comment.
Yeah.
You're weird.
Well, I think that's
kinda
part of your charm, though, Sips, that you're a little bit kind of. But you have that sort of slightly sideways. The ability to be funny is to look at the world on a tilt. You know, look at the square from a different.
I mean,
angle.
I was just joking, but thanks for.
No, I definitely think like you have a bit of that. We all do, though. I think a little bit. Yeah. You know, if you're deadly serious. But apparently, like, comedy also comes with like intelligence. Like, it's like smarter people are slightly more able to be funny. Don't know if that's anything to go by, but personally, my IQ is.
Do you know what I hate is when I'm in the wrong mood for finding things funny. Like I'm in a serious mood for some reason, and someone will say something or something is obviously funny, and I find myself doing that thing where you go, well, actually, and you sort of explain it, or you just try and. You don't get it. Like, you're just not in the right frame of mind for something to be funny.
Yeah.
When someone says something funny, I'm just like, well, that's clearly not the case. The chicken is clearly not going to cross the road.
Not for the sole purpose of getting to the other side.
Yeah,
in
that's
any
ridiculous.
case.
And I find myself doing that sometimes. Just like, what are you doing? Like, I need to be in the right frame of mind.
You
to find
momentarily
stuff funny.
forget how to have any fun in this world.
Exactly. I become very unfun. If it's been a bad day or something like that, I find.
That does happen.
Or I haven't had enough sleep.
When you've got like emotions boiling in you, and you have a very short fuse, and you just, someone makes a joke at you, and you just blink at them. And
I wonder if humor is the first thing to go when you're in a bad mood. Having a sense of humor just goes straight out the fucking window.
It definitely is like a thing where I've noticed. I've said this before, but when we meet fans and the fan is clearly nervous, sometimes making a joke is actually not. They won't get it.
Right.
Whereas they're obviously fans, they obviously like know us and get everything. And most of them, when you're talking to any fans and you make a joke, and then when they're comfortable, they're like they totally get it. But if they're like suddenly on edge, they're like they're just their brain is like it's like maybe that section just gets shut off. Yeah, like you said,
like people get nervous when they meet people that they know from the internet, which is crazy to me. But they're like like trying to catch their breath. You're like, dude.
Well,
chill.
I think it's because they don't really know what to say. They don't want to come off as being like a nerd.
I wouldn't even say it was like half. I think it's like less than half.
It's a small number. But I've been at the International before, and there's obviously some really, really huge names in Dota, and people come up and they're like practically sweating with nerves about meeting this person. And the first thing they say is like the first thing they can think of is a time that this person fucked up. So I've seen them meet like their favorite player. And they're like, oh, wow, such a pleasure to meet you. Do you remember that time you lost that game to so-and-so and you guys got knocked out? Oh. And they're like, yeah, I do remember that. Thanks. And they're just,
do you know what,
they're just like, oh, why'd I say that? I didn't mean to be a dick. It's just like their brain just completely froze.
I think that's Dota trolls, though, right? That's like Dota people make that automatically do that.
You do see the trolly people. Like, I remember one time there was a guy and all they did was shout out. Like, I was with Blitz, right? And they shouted out, hey, Blitz, do you remember the time you accidentally destroyed your bloodstone? He was like, get the fuck you, fuck boys, or something like that. He was like, fuck you sort of thing to these guys. And that's what they wanted. Like, they
pros
laughed,
are actually upset by recalling that moment unless they're super childish. Like,
Dota is a very banterish game, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
It's highly competitive.
I think any of those pros saying fuck you back are actually saying it as a joke, though, right? But I think sometimes the people who said that didn't mean it as a joke. And
right,
then
but that's what I'm
not
saying is
expecting a joke back either.
There are times when the person is deliberately trolling, and there are times when they literally just couldn't think of something else to say, and their brain completely fired, and they just spat out something that you would say to someone you didn't like. And I just think it's funny. People just sometimes get a bit messed up.
Oh, was that like someone's phone?
Not mine.
Terps, what's up? We're just recording the podcast right now, so your dream has come true. You're actually on the podcast.
Put him on speaker.
Yeah, get him on speaker.
We're going to be done in like probably 10 minutes. You want me to phone you back? Okay, bye.
Why couldn't he he could have made a guest appearance, Sips?
He didn't want to. He sounded really nervous. It was weird. He was really nervous, and he's like, hey, just before I let you go, you remember that time you really fucked up that Upper Blackrock Spire run in WoW? And it was recorded, and everybody laughed at you?
That's why Tips is never getting on, I tell you.
He needed to talk to me about something top secret, so I don't know. Maybe I'm fired.
Shit. Or maybe I'm fired.
Maybe.
Maybe we're
This
all
might be
fired.
the last podcast. Let's make it count, boys. Oh,
Hey, you know what? I just realized.
What? Sorry.
I've just realized that when I do the poker streams, all I do is flame the other people's poker play constantly and get triggered and say, "Oh my god, I can't believe this," stuff like that. And people are going to point that out, but they're not listening, so that's fine. Like I'm commentating for the audience at home, and the people in the fucking room are not. They can't hear the abuse.
But that's what makes it good.
Right, but my point is, imagine if I was sat there while they were
But
playing.
it's not a serious game either. It's a bit of fun, right? Like you wouldn't catch people necessarily doing that to like a pro Hearthstone player or whatever, you know? Like it's
Well,
not.
I'm just saying,
it's
imagine
not as
if
acceptable
it was in the
because-
middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
of
I
the
think
game.
people will like that you don't want to hold back. Like, do you know what I
No,
mean?
but
Like
that's like
people
part
don't
of the
want to see
format.
censored period, and they want to
Yeah.
see your actual thoughts coming out of your actual brain. And you know, it's funny and fun to experience the way that we play poker through your eyes. You know, and it's funny to see that frustration and that reality.
Do you know
Like,
what? Talking about poker. I was at my mate's birthday party at the weekend, and he's a guy I used to play poker with. Like we used to have a home game. It ran for years actually. There was about 8 or 10 of us regulars, and we'd rotate at people's houses. And one of the guys there that I met, he was a friend of my friend's. I was chatting to him for about 15 minutes, and he suddenly says, "Are you Pyrion Flax?" Like out of nowhere. And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I'm a massive Yogscast fan." I was like, "Oh, cool." And then I was like, how do I continue this conversation now? Because we were talking about nothing to do with anything really. But then the moment people heard about it, all these guys came over. They're talking about Crusader Kings, talking about, like, this one guy wanted to send me his Crusader Kings save so I could see how it was going and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, please don't send me your Crusader Kings save. Like, I don't want to look at someone else's Crusader Kings save. But it was just funny. Like, the moment they heard that I did something to do with games, all these guys that previously weren't talking about games at all were suddenly like, oh, video games? Yeah, I'm all over that. And they all fucking love exactly the same games as we do.
It's given them that permission to talk about stuff that they're actually. Because
no one wants to say they're a nerd. They don't want to march up to a stranger and say,
only
"Hi, I play
happens
video
when
games all day."
you're comfortable with people, though. Like certainly, like it's like that keeping that persona on when you meet new people that you're a specific way, and if you're not careful, you become that way. But I think a lot of people have that general sort of have to have that demeanor to stand out and go up the ladder at work or with the other lads. Oh, you know, Wilhelm came in today. He's fucking talking about computer games. What I do? Let's go for a beer after work, everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Wilhelm,
I think that
on a British building site. Fucking Wilhelm.
Fucking Wilhelm.
That's the first name that popped into your
He
head.
fucking came from Oktoberfest. He was completely wankered.
In his fucking lederhosen. What's he doing? He's got a massive pint glass in one hand and a hod in the other.
Oh, fuck.
Anyway,
Wilhelm.
holy shit. I think that is enough for today, guys.
Oh, man.
So thanks for listening to the Triforce podcast, everyone. Be sure to check out our sponsors, Big Fucking Jugs.
Mini Cheddars.
Yeah, Highland
Max Drink,
Springs.
Cold and Flu, Highlands.
Highland Spring, and Paradox, of course.
And of course, those little fucking microfibers in the
microfibers in plastic. Yeah, yeah.
in plastic. Yeah,
Just
watch
shout
out
out
for
to
those
guys.
But yeah,
all
also
right.
big fans. So thanks very much, and see you next time.
And don't forget to join Pyrion's new religion. Come in 2019. Bald people only.
I'll come up with a name.
Flaxology.
You got to be bald. If shave your head.
Bald,
Actually, women have to have long flowing hair. Women in the car have to have long flowing hair to balance out all the
To
bald
drape
lads.
over your bald head and make
Exactly.
it appear
Yes.
that you're actually
And if
not.
I get enough hair in my head that I have a 10-foot tall hairdo of women's hair all stacked up, God will come and save us all. Okay,
Right.
that's the gist
Sweet.
of it. And we all have to have sex all the time.
That sounds great.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'll do the baking. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.